Hello, my name is Nadia Thomas, and this is my narrative PowerPoint for Etec 42402 on the web. Assistive technology. Assistive technology that I find helpful in the classroom are tablets or computers, audiobooks, talking spell checkers and dictionaries, modified keyboards. These are very important for students with hearing disabilities and vision disabilities, as well as autism and social impairments. If you watch my video here on the right, you will see an example of how technology is affecting students in the classroom that have autism.
1 in 68 children in this country are affected with autism, a developmental disability which can make interacting difficult. Through technology, local educators have found a new way to help these kids communicate. Naperville News 17's Jodelle Maglaya has more.
Students with autism can face challenges with social communication, language, and interaction, but technology is now offering a chance for these students to find their voice. Courtney Peters, a special educator at Naperville Central High School, has found that adding social media into her program has given her students a way to connect within their comfort levels.
So if I can teach them to use some of these platforms, then they can stay connected in some way. And it won't be as involved as like a typically developing teenager, but at least they're connecting, they're communicating, and they're sharing, and they're being social in the digital world. And that's really what socializing is turning into, is using digital platforms.
For an autistic child, sometimes a twit pic can speak 1,000 words.
Tweeting feelings is hard for a student with autism. Sometimes there's a big disconnect between the person and recognizing what their feelings are. I think a more realistic way is for the student to share a picture of something that they see or something that they're doing, and then tweet what they're doing at that time, and then have friends and family look and comment.
For Little Friends, a not-for-profit that serves children and adults with autism and other developmental disabilities, the use of a smartboard has changed the way students interact. The giant whiteboard with touchscreen capabilities allows kids to take turns choosing pictures and words. The visual nature of the interaction is what makes it so successful.
The benefits that we've learned is that students have developed a social awareness through the use of the smartboard. Students who would not previously engage with other students or engage in class are more interactive. So it has really had the benefit of not only building academic and cognitive skills, but also building social skills as well.
On a smaller scale, the iPad can be used as a personal device to communicate needs and wants, allowing students to be both the responder and the initiator, and digital and voice output programming helps support verbal language development. Adding all this technology to the toolbox isn't just an education, it's a life changer.
When you teach a child to communicate, you give them control over their world.
I'm Jodelle Maglaya for Naperville News 17.
Little Friends is always accepting iPad donations. To donate, visit littlefriendsinc.org.
My experience and knowledge in the classroom. Honestly, my experience within the classroom as far as teaching goes is very minimal. I can only speak for the teachers that I've had and what I've experienced as a student. I am still in the early stages of earning my degree, so what I found to be in my field of expertise, which is English Lit, is reading, writing, and rhetorical analysis. If a student is unable to properly read text or write a paper or a project, class can be very hard for them. And I want to find ways that all my students could succeed in the classroom. My hobbies. What I do on a daily basis is read, write, I compose videos from time to time, and I do research for my major. I want to be very well adjusted when I become a teacher in the classroom. And I think my experience with reading and with writing stories would be able to help my students when they have to do certain projects. My philosophy. My philosophy for technology in the classroom is pretty simple. I think teachers have to be knowledgeable about what they're using so that they can teach their students how to use certain forms of technology. I think that they and I, as a teacher, should be able to make the lesson relatable using a technology medium. And I want to be very selective in the choices of technology that I use in the classroom because everything's not as appropriate as things that are currently being used in the classroom or things that could be used in the classroom. My beliefs and how I would share them with you guys. My beliefs, as I stated before in the previous slide, is that we know how to use the technology that we're going to be integrating in our classrooms. We have to set boundaries for our students so that they know what is appropriate, what is inappropriate for the technologies that they're using. There should be a proper form of etiquette at all times. I think that sharing in the classroom is very important. This is a way that students get to know each other better, get to see the perspective of their classmates, and I think presentations within the classroom are very helpful in showing the students the lesson plan and breaking it down so they better understand it. My favorite theory and most important belief in the classroom is that teachers have to form relationships with their students individually. If you know more about your students, their likes, their dislikes, their habits, things that are going on in their home, you have a better chance of making the lesson easier for them, and you can relate to them on a different level. Teaching methods that I discovered this semester. I really didn't discover too much. I just use a lot more of tools online that I normally don't. Um, I had a blog for years and I've never used it for a classroom assignment, so that was quite different for me. I've never built a website. That was the new thing. Um, and video composition. I've made videos, but I've never actually shared them on YouTube, so that was a new form of how to use technology in the classroom, and I think it was pretty neat. Another thing was Prezi, which I think would be very, very good for students that can't afford to probably buy PowerPoint because Office, Microsoft is pretty expensive, and that would help students with financial um, problems in the home. Technology and school culture. I think technology helps to advance student learning. It definitely has improvement towards closing the gap between upper class and middle class students, as well as lower class students, because there's a common denominator with the technology and how they use it in the classroom that can help them all understand the lesson and be creative with how they present their projects. Technology helps students with disabilities, as I described before. It creates a more equal and fair environment for everyone, and it also broadens teaching styles. As a teacher or future teacher, some are set in ways on how to teach a lesson, and I think online tools can provide new ways, new innovative ways for teachers to relate to their students better through the lesson. Technology and how it helps students. I think technology mostly helps them share their ideas a lot more. It also helps things become more relatable to them so they can understand the lessons a lot easier. And instead of chastising them for using their cell phones in class, certain technologies could be used in ways to help them. And there could be projects created for cell phone use, etc. And projectors, of course, PowerPoint presentations as a teacher are very, very good. And I've always used these, and it seems to be one of the main things that students can pay attention to. Weekly lesson plans. I plan to use, of course, the projector screen, as I stated before, video homework assignments. I actually want to find a way to FaceTime students in case they have questions over the lessons that I give in class. I think audio text or like audiobooks is a very good tool to use. I find that in English classes, not everyone does the reading, so if they could hear the text being read to them, that would ease the pressure they feel on having to read certain texts. I would use YouTube and Prezi for them to present their projects with, and of course, computer and tablets and cell phones so they could access the web and share their ideas. References.